Well, with your wealth of exposure, you've been to so many African countries, and what happens is so disheartening. Just our neighboring DRC, for about 3 decades, they've been at war. Different African countries, go to Central Africa Republic, go to West Africa, there's coups every other time, civil wars, and so much of these unrest. Could African leaders, or can African leaders, get to agree on one purpose for the unity of this continent?
Question number 1, which I would throw back at you. Show me one African country that is producing bombs. Show me one African country that is manufacturing guns. Show me one African country that is manufacturing the weapons. Show me one African country that is printing US dollars. Show me one of them. And then walk up into any of those war zones to find a solution for yourself, pick up those guns, find out where they were manufactured, how they entered the country, who sold them, who delivered them, who is making money out of them. In a simple nutshell for you, young man, it will be to assert to you that when war begins, it may start off as a tribal war. But where we are right now, there is a third force that is playing in the wings to facilitate the conflicts of families. And as the proverb, African proverb says, when brothers fight each other to death, the foreigner will always eat the spoils. So the foreign countries, and I will not isolate them, America, Europe, and China, many of them, if not most of them, are in the DRC, creating landing strips in the midst of nowhere. And on those landing strips, they fly their private jets, collect minerals, put them in their flights, and they fly out without even going through the borders and etc. Because these are war-torn zones. These are war-torn countries. So as long as war continues, immigration and customs does not apply. You talk to the chief, ask him to fight the other chief, chase people away from their village, move your soldiers in, protect the village, get the miners and excavators in, scoop as much as you can, fill up your bags and fly. So we cannot be naive at this day and age to think that Africans are fighting each other. Africans are fighting each other, but someone is benefiting every time the African dies from the bullets of another African. So ask me the question, who are the sponsors of those wars? And I'll tell you without mixing my words, you won't find a single black hand that is involved in the sponsorships of those wars. We are ponies, run errand boys, who kill our own people to please our colonial masters. And that is the reality of the wars in Africa. Why? Somalia and Mali still at war. Look at the Arabs who have an interest in the oil there, the Totals and the Caltexes and etc. and the BPs, etc. If this oil is dug and is dumped on the market, what will happen to their market share? What will happen? So please keep them at war so that the oil does not go through. What happens if the Congo diamonds and cobalt is put on the market? Or the diamonds of De Beers in South Africa, the diamonds of Arawep will go down. So please keep them at war. Then you can indirectly smuggle these diamonds into the system. Because once this happens and business becomes legitimate, they are landlords, they are warlords who are camouflaging themselves as banks, as economic revolutionaries, but they have nothing to do with your economy. They have everything to do with protecting their empires. And these are Anglo-Saxon empires. These are European empires. These are Russian oligarch empires who are looking for tentacles to own estates of production and value and resources wherever they can find them, and they need to protect So wherever there's oil right now, if Zambia could be, if you could discover today that there's oil in Zambia, get ready for war. And then ask yourself, who has interest in oil? You don't need to go very far. Just go to the warlords who are the big market shareholders of oil, and you know who will sponsor the war here. Whether it comes through a white man, a black man, or an Indian man, doesn't matter, but go back and follow the trail of money. You will find some big oil sharks who are disgusting. But no, we can't allow that to happen. So You Want to Be the Master is a personal development book that I wrote. My first offering that I did is a community development book.
Right.
It is a national development book. How do we master our own destiny? How do we begin to accumulate to ourselves the knowledge, the intel, the software that will then assist us to drive to become the Africa that we want to be. And many times and often we have found that we are being mastered by other people. We are being manipulated by other people. We think we are independent, we think we are educated, we think we are religious. Meanwhile, there are people behind our backs who are pulling strings and making us behave in a certain way, politically, religiously, economically, and we think we're doing well, when in fact we are stooges. We've almost become puppets and mimicry on the political terrain. How do you now, as an African, while I'm still alive, begin to tap into what I'm saying and say, these are the critical issues that will help us to master our own destiny and drive the future that we want for ourselves and leave a legacy for our children. And the United Africa is one of them. And so you want to be the master, so it's a book, it's a presentation that I'm going to be doing at the government complex on Sunday. And the intentions of that presentation is to begin to give tools of personal development. One passport is the first benefit. We are free to travel wherever we want and have tourism.
Right.
And there's money there to be made. Free movement of goods, beautiful context. Fish, flowers, animal, livestock can begin to move. You're no longer limited by bureaucracies. Education. You are able to send your children anywhere in Africa as long as you can afford it. And you don't need visas and etc. It will start running. Marriages, I love that one there. Our children can begin to marry each other and cattle can cross rivers and celebrations can begin to sound. But above that, economic viability of the continent. One currency, one stock exchange, one national army, and one government that will begin to run Africa towards that one voice. So that we can at least politically have a seat at NATO, at the world governing bodies, superpowers, where we can also be counted. Right now, all of us, 55 of us, we don't even have a single seat, not even a secretariat desk where we are considered as human beings. It's North Atlantic Agreement, only for white people. So why are we footnotes? Why are we footnotes on the story instead of being subjects? Why are we waiting for destiny to be determined by other people who must decide? Look at COVID, what it did. Group of white boys discussing what must we do. Hey, close the door, and they make conversations as if we were affected as much as they were. But because we're just followers, dust gatherers behind the European political system. We run behind whatever the white man says. We vaccinated ourselves here. AIDS came out. Now COVID came up. Whether it is true or it is false, no one bothers. Our universities are sitting around. Not even one single solid research has been done to prove and establish to us that these issues are real issues of what we are dealing with. Can't tell me that malaria is in Africa and solutions are not in Africa. Why would Bill Gates be looking for new electronic mosquitoes to come and extinguish malaria here? Like really? What else are these mosquitoes going to bite that we don't know? Are they only going to be looking for mosquitoes or they're coming to bite human beings? But we sit around there as if the white man has the solution. But if I was wicked like they are, I would create the problem and create the solution. And every time foxes are discussing their diet, you can be sure that lambs will be on the menu.
Well, maybe about talking about mosquitoes as we go. Are there mosquitoes in the caves? People need to find out. Are you coming from the caves? Are you going back to the caves from this interview?
You take the incense, the traditional incense. There's some bushes you find on mountainsides. You take those bushes and when you enter a cave, you do the ceremonies of asking permission to enter into a cave. And then you take those bushes and shrubs, you put them there, you burn the incense, like they do in the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church. There's an African traditional incense, put on the cave there, you blow it up, all the mosquitoes and other things, they fly away from you, sleep in a cave nicely, and listen to the voices and the echoes of the stones. Even these that you call your buildings, I think these are still concrete caves. It's only that they have windows and glasses, but it makes no difference at all. I'm going back to the caves. I just came back here to charge my phones and do some interviews with you. But and again, I'm not saying I'm going to be living in the caves.
All right.
I am saying it's possible.
It's possible.
And when you want to ground yourself and you want to earth yourself, you want to detox yourself, you do some of these natural things and walk natural spaces.
Bishop Joshua MAPONGA III.
You're not ready, young man. You're not ready.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for having joined me.
Thank you very much.
See you on
Always
Sunday.
a pleasure to see you.
Great.
See you on Sunday.
Exactly.
When they come to the mosque, they leave their shoes at the door.
Yes.
When you come for the function, don't leave your brains at the door.